And what we have to understand as well is that, when Manyell and I and Christina and Lloyd, when we decided to take this initiative, this is not what we do every day.
Right.
We are financial advisors. That's our job. But for essentially, we decided that it was worth it. All of October, we haven't done a whole lot of client calls this month, so we got to get back on the ball.
Got to get back on, pay some bills.
Sorry,
clients. We got to pay some bills.
We got to get back to work in November, but it's November now, so we got to get back to work. But this is what it's going to take for this economy to start turning around, for us to people to start understanding that there are problems out there that are larger than themselves. We out there on the streets passing out flyers, people looking at us cross-eyed because they don't even know because we're trying to give out jobs and training, and they're saying, well,
what's the catch?
Like, what is this? Why are you looking at this? And people are always saying, well, if you have a job already, then pass this flyer on to somebody else who don't have a job.
Right.
Yeah. So we have to understand that this is bigger than ourselves. And sometimes people say, well, my little bit, I can't contribute. No, whatever little seed that you can put on the table to try to contribute to help somebody else out, it's worth it. And those seeds are going to harvest, and somebody's going to turn into somebody else's harvest. So we have to understand that.
And we have to be ready as a community.
Go ahead, Manyell.
I said we have to be ready as a community to accept people coming back. They're coming back. They're coming home. We need to support them. We need to give them jobs. We need to talk to them as men, as everyone is saying, really support them. And when we're standing out there at Utica and everybody, 5 trains go by and nobody's picking up a flyer, and we're saying, here, give it to your cousin, your uncle, your aunt, your neighbor, someone. We all need to start getting active in our communities.
Definitely. Ryan, I want to go back to your specialty, which is financial advice. And part of, we're talking about getting the job and getting over the stigma of having a record. But what about just a couple of tips for people, in that situation? You're starting to make some money, but there's also a temptation when you've been denied a lot of things and you've been locked down, and then you come out. I'm sure it's like, wow, look at this. I didn't see this before. Let me buy that. What are some of the financial tips that you have for people in that situation? And women too. We've mostly been talking about men, but there's women
as
coming
well.
out too.
And we had a lot of good folks out there in Serendipity and Bayview that we talked to. What's up, Bayview out there? Hopefully you guys, the ladies are listening. Love to talk to you. Glad to meet you. But the faith and the mentality, we definitely talked about that. But then we get into the dangers of things like consumption and understanding that over 90% of our dollars goes to things that don't even appreciate in value but depreciate in value. Then we talked about the fact that our dollar in our communities does not even turn over one time before it leaves our communities, understanding that we have to support our community businesses. And then we talked about avoiding predatory financial traps like the rush card, avoiding traps like the refund anticipation loans, individuals like the payday loans and cash advances, paying these 400 or 500% interest rates and basically gouging off of these things, especially in the inner city communities. And then we went ahead and talked about these things such as the proper use of credit cards, making sure that you're using those credit cards only for emergencies and for building up your FICO score. So we talked about these things because what we've done as a society, those who are formerly incarcerated and those who are not formerly incarcerated, is we've racked up so much debt, purchasing things that we don't need to try to impress people that we may not even like, and putting ourselves into a situation that is destructive. And this has been a debtor society. We are essentially renting our lifestyle away, and it's almost like our license to pretend and fake the funk as if we own certain things when we might have a whole bedroom full of rent-a-centers, clothing and furniture that we don't even own ourselves. So we have to really change our mindset in the way that we using our capital more responsibly.
I'll never forget. We talked about this after the show that you did. One of the shows about you came on about Rent-A-Center, and you talked about that couch, that like $800 couch cost you about $5,000 or something. It was like by the time you finished paying for it.
Sony Bravio television right now at Rent-A-Center values at $1,900. If you purchase it the Rent-A-Center way, you got to pay $59 a week for 116 weeks, and then you'll own that Sony Bravio 54-inch television. That means you'll pay about $7,000 for a $2,000 television. If you do it in a responsible way, you pay $59 a week. After 31 weeks, you can own to yourself. You own that television outright and don't have to pay the 160% interest rate that the Rent-A-Center with Magic Johnson and his cheesy smiling self on these websites, smiling at trying to get people to gouge themselves out of our money. We have to understand to get ourselves away from these things because they're coming after our pockets.
Yeah,
all right,
and we're just about communities.
Exactly. I mean, we see them. We see the ads on TV, and we see the centers in the communities. I want to just go around the table real quick because we're just about out of time. Jarrell, what's ahead for you?
What's ahead for me is staying positive, trying to stay fast, find employment, begin my school, and I'm just out here trying to repair and restore, and I want to give a special salute to all of the mothers and the wives and all that have held all of the men and women that are way down, because they have been a cornerstone, and I'm just out here trying to restore and repair and be positive and try to do the right thing, put my my best foot forward.
All right, well, good luck to you for everything. Karif McDuffie?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna stay working and stay trying to make a difference in my community, and try to hopefully get everybody off the streets, and stop filling these jails, start getting some of these correction officers unemployed.
Okay, and Darnell, Canada, 1222 Putnam Avenue, Bushwick, 646-271-7310. You're helping people coming home getting jobs, but you're tough. I can tell.
What's in store for me is to continue to work with Ryan Mack and Optimum Capital, so we could begin to create companies and create businesses for these people who are working, using their capital to go into business, so we can help employ our community. There's a lot of storefronts where I'm at on Broadway, and there's a lot of storefronts all in the inner city communities that could be opened and made into businesses, and I look forward to working with Ryan Mack and making that happen.
All right, and I look forward to telling that story here on Street Soldiers and on Fox 5 News at 10. Manyell, last word?
I'm looking forward to continuing to work and fight against recidivism. Also teaching financial literacy in all communities. We got to pull together, y'all. We're doing real bad. We got to do better. We must do better. There's no way to go but up. And I just need more community involvement. Get involved in your communities.
Yes.
One person can make a big difference. We got to stop this all for ourself mentality. We got to pull together, pull our resources together to make change.
All right. Manyell Akinfe of Optimum Capital Management, thank you for being with us. And Ryan Mack, last word.
Yeah, well, definitely. I mean, I'm proud to be a board member of Rebuild. I'm proud to be helping out with this movement, and I think that Optimum Capital Management and our not-for-profit, the Optimum Institute, we're gonna be out there fighting. And at the end of the day, whether other folks join us or not, we still gonna be out here fighting. But that's the mentality that we all have to take, because again, like Manyell said, everybody can make a difference.
All right, thank you very much for being with us, all of you. We appreciate it. And this episode of Street Soldiers was made hot for you by Dr. Pepper. Enter to win the Dr. Pepper tuition giveaway at drpepper.com. We thank them for sponsoring the show. And once again, with that program out of the Brooklyn DA's office, it's called Calm Alert. Their phone number is 718-250-2592. And Darnell Canada's Rebuild program at 1222 Putnam in Bushwick, his number is 646-271-7310. And Optimum, if they want to find out about the Optimum Institute, just Google it, is the easiest thing, right?
Yeah, you can do 877-758-3224.
Okay.
877-758-3224.
All right, and I want to thank all of our guests for being with us. I want to thank my executive producer, Tone Capone, our program director, Ebro, assistant program director, Jill Strada, associate producer and programming coordinator, Tiffany Jones, our production director, Andrew Veras. And remember, check me out on the Fox 5 News at 10. Log on to myfoxny.com. Type my name in the search, and you'll see some of my recent stories. Sign up to be part of my network, twitter.com. Just type in my name, Lisa Evers. Thank you for listening to the show. Don't forget, you can check us out